Hi, it's Mary Allen with IT in Canada, and I'm here today at the Art Gallery of Ontario speaking with Virginia Vuleta, who's the Director of IT and New Media at the AGO. Virginia, thanks very much for having me today. Would you like to describe to me the space that we're in today?
We are in Galleria Italia, which is the AGO in Toronto. The Art Gallery of Ontario was founded in 1900 and has become one of the largest art museums in North America. We have over 80,000 works in our collection, and over the space of the last year, we've welcomed over 700,000 visitors through our doors and 2.5 million unique visitors to our website. We also operate thriving retail, restaurant, special events and education businesses on site.
Thanks, Virginia. I understand that recently you've done some upgrading to your network infrastructure. Can you describe to me what challenges you were facing at the AGO that prompted you to take a look at your infrastructure?
Absolutely. The AGO went through several renovation projects or expansion projects throughout the 70s and 80s. The approach to the network throughout those projects was rather piecemeal. So we found when we got to 2008 and our latest expansion project, which we endeavored with Frank Gehry, that the network had come to a point where it was very difficult to manage. We had several different cabling standards in place and a lot of different hardware manufacturers. So we found that at any point in time it was very difficult to find out what was going on the network, and troubleshooting was largely an exercise in guesswork. So at that point we decided, in order to reach our objectives as the newly transformed AGO, we had to completely rebuild the physical network infrastructure and redesign the core network out from the core to the edge.
Mm-hmm. And what were the key attributes that you were looking for in the new solution?
First of all, because we're a public institution, the solution had to be cost effective. It also had to be managed within the staffing complement that we had on site, and we couldn't afford a steep learning curve. Above that, the solution had to be flexible. Again, we are a public institution. We are engaged in conversations with our public all of the time, learning about how they want to interact with the technology in the space and what services they would like to see us develop in the future. Mm-hmm. So we needed a solution that was flexible enough for us to be able to add services or change services as our public demand evolved.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And with upgrade of the core networking functionality, I understand that you got some of the reliability and some of the flexibility you were looking for. What did this new platform enable in terms of next step for the gallery and for the gallery connectivity?
The reliability and stability were critical for us, but aside from that, we also recognized that the network needed to be responsive to not only our visitors, but also our front of house and back of house services. So, for example, when we run at peak times during exhibitions, our membership staff now have the ability to deploy mobile kiosks throughout the space so that they can answer member queries, they can sell memberships, and they can add a premium visitor experience during those busy times. We're also able now to offer more online learning or on-site learning services through the Wi-Fi network. We're starting to look at things like live streaming of educational events using the new Wi-Fi networks. We were also, because the new solution, the new HP solution, allows us to use quality of service and power over Ethernet, we were able to upgrade our PBX to a hybrid voice over IP service, which means we're able to deploy telephony services much more quickly and more cheaply than we were ever able to in the past.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I had a nice tour this morning before we sat down to talk, and I was able to see some of the implementation in action, or in inaction, because there were some creative uses of some of the technology. Can you talk a little bit about some of the challenges that there are for implementing Wi-Fi in an art space and how you overcame those?
Sure. Implementing technology in a cultural institution is always interesting because you want the technology to be there, but you don't necessarily want it in your face. You don't want to distract from the visitor experience. You don't want a box with a bunch of blinking lights distracting someone from an experience of connecting with a work of art on a wall. So the challenge for us was, and particularly in some of the spaces which are over 100 years old and are cultural assets in themselves, we had to be cognizant of being able to obscure or hide the technology. In some places, we're not able to drill holes in walls, for example, so we had to be creative in hiding the technology and obscuring it so that it's above eyesight level, it's painted the same color as the wall, and is just invisible to the user. In other areas, we've actually hidden the access points in attic spaces or in the floor below so that the signal still reaches into the space, but it's physically separate from the space.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of feedback have you had on your new land solution? Mm-hmm. I'm wondering about the benefits to gallery workers, to the IT staff, and also to visitors to BAGO.
The IT staff love it. They no longer have to worry about, what is the network going to do today. They can focus on core business objectives and mission critical tasks that they do on a day-to-day basis. But they have that centralized management portal where they can see what's going on the network. They can predictively adapt or deal with peaks in demand as they come up. Mm-hmm. So there's no surprises. The staff in general love the flexibility of being able to deploy things or deploy kiosks and additional retail point of sale terminals when we have peaks in demand because of an exhibition. The front of house staff love that there is an additional service that we can offer clients in terms of our free public Wi-Fi. So we're starting to see a lot of people in the cafe and restaurant areas using tablets and smartphones, and in some cases notebook computers to sit with their coffee, mm-hmm. Check Facebook, study, and connect with their friends. So mm-hmm. the response has been very, very positive. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at continually improving those services and adding to them based on what our public is telling us. Mm-hmm.
And I saw a demonstration of public use of the network too, the Twitter feed in the gallery upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks very much, Virginia. I appreciate your insight.
Thank you for your time.